As we grow older, one of the first things many people notice isn't just the occasional ache in the knees or the forgetfulness that creeps in around names and appointments, but the subtle drop in stamina. Whether it's getting winded after a flight of stairs, struggling to keep pace during a morning walk, or feeling unusually drained after activities that once felt effortless. And while most people chalk this up to simple aging or reduced muscle mass, the truth is that a silent but powerful force behind this energy dip is how we breathe. Because breathing, something so instinctive, so automatic, actually holds the key to unlocking a level of physical and mental performance most seniors never realize they still have access to. And yet, very few people over 60 have ever been taught how to breathe in a way that actively enhances circulation, boosts oxygen delivery to cells, supports cognitive clarity, and even regulates stress and inflammation. And what's even more surprising is that the body's respiratory system is one of the last major systems to atrophy with age, meaning that with proper technique and mindful retraining, seniors can experience near-instant improvements in energy, balance, alertness, and even digestion just by changing how they inhale and exhale. And this isn't just spiritual talk or wellness fluff. It's backed by growing research in fields like pulmonology, geriatric exercise science, and even elite athletic training, where breath control is often the first tool taught for enhancing endurance and recovery. So when elderly individuals learn to use these same methods in everyday life, whether it's to get through a long grocery trip, a social gathering, a challenging walk, or even a restless night of sleep, they begin to discover that aging doesn't always have to mean slowing down. Because when you take control of your breath, you regain control of your energy, your focus, and your body's internal rhythm. And what's especially powerful is how these breathing techniques also help restore confidence, because one of the unspoken fears many older adults carry is the fear of falling behind, of losing independence, of watching their vitality slip away slowly. And yet the simple, low-effort, completely free act of strategic breathing becomes a private superpower, something you can do sitting in a chair, lying in bed, or walking around the park. And it's one of the few things you can do every day that improves lung elasticity, blood pressure, lymphatic drainage, and even mood regulation all at once. And in fact, many seniors report that once they start using performance-enhancing breathing techniques, they not only feel more energized, but they also experience less joint pain, fewer panic episodes, better posture, and even more vivid memory recall. Because oxygen is the lifeblood of the brain and muscles, and shallow or erratic breathing deprives the body of this fuel, but rhythmic, full-bodied breathing acts like a natural turbocharger, fueling every cell and reducing internal noise that contributes to fatigue and brain fog. And perhaps most fascinating is that these benefits don't take weeks or months to show up. Many elderly men and women report noticeable changes after the first 5 minutes of consistent use. And that's what makes these 4 tricks so game-changing, because unlike complicated diets, expensive supplements, or mobility routines that require months of effort, breathing is something you're already doing 20,000 times a day. These methods simply teach you how to do it better, smarter, and in a way that's designed for the aging body. So before diving into those specific methods, it's crucial to understand what's actually going wrong with the typical over 60 breathing pattern, and it comes down to 3 big problems. First, most seniors breathe too shallowly, only using the top portion of their lungs, which results in poor oxygen uptake and high carbon dioxide retention, which makes the heart work harder and the brain feel foggier. Second, most people over 60 develop chest-dominant breathing instead of diaphragm-driven breathing, which creates tension in the shoulders, back, and neck, often leading to fatigue and poor posture. And third, As stress levels increase with age due to chronic illness, medication side effects, or emotional isolation, breathing patterns become rapid, unconscious, and erratic, which signals the nervous system to stay in a fight or flight state, thereby increasing cortisol, raising inflammation, and sabotaging the body's ability to rest, recover, or rebuild tissue. So if all of that sounds a little overwhelming, don't worry, because the good news is that the 4 breathing tricks we're about to introduce are designed to reverse each of these problems step by step in a way that feels natural, calming, and immediately empowering. And you don't need to be an athlete, a yogi, or a wellness guru to practice them. You can be 85, using a cane, sitting, in a recliner, and still begin to experience real physiological transformation within minutes of starting. Because the body doesn't care about age as much as it cares about oxygen. And once you start breathing in a way that maximizes oxygen while calming the nervous system, everything else begins to fall into place. Your posture improves, your digestion regulates, your sleep becomes deeper, your walks become easier, and your mood becomes lighter, because the same mechanism that triggers fatigue can also be reprogrammed to trigger vitality, and that mechanism lives in your breath. And what's even more inspiring is that many elderly people who begin these breathing practices report side benefits they weren't even expecting, like reduced acid reflux, fewer dizzy spells, better hearing, and improved sexual function. All because when the body becomes more oxygen efficient and inflammation goes down, everything starts to work better. Not in a miracle cure way, but in a way that proves the body wants to heal and perform. It just needs the right signal, and breath is that signal. So as we move forward into the next part, we'll begin revealing the first of these 4 simple but profoundly effective breathing tricks, starting with the one that helps increase lung capacity and cardiovascular efficiency almost instantly. And if you're someone who has ever felt like you can't quite catch your breath, like you're constantly out of gas or living on half a tank, then this first technique will feel like a breath of fresh air, literally, because it doesn't just teach you how to breathe deeper, it trains your brain and your muscles to work together in harmony so that every breath becomes a source of strength, clarity, and vitality that you carry with you all day long. Now that we've laid the foundation for why breathing can be such a powerful performance enhancer after 60, let's dive into the first of the 4 techniques that have been quietly transforming the health, stamina, and confidence of older adults who feel like their best years are behind them. And that first method is something called box breathing, which may sound simple at first, but is actually one of the most potent tools used not only by Olympic athletes and Navy SEALs to control anxiety and maintain physical calm under stress, but also by geriatric care therapists to help seniors regulate heart rate, blood pressure, and mental fog during moments of exertion or overwhelm. And the reason it works so well is because it trains the nervous system to operate in a parasympathetic state, meaning the rest, repair, and performance-enhancing zone of your body, instead of the stress-heavy, energy-draining sympathetic mode that causes shallow breathing and internal tension. And here's how it works. Imagine a square or box in your mind, and for each side of the box, you perform one phase of the breathing process for exactly 4 seconds. Inhaling for a count of 4, holding your breath for a count of 4, exhaling slowly for 4 seconds, and then holding again with empty lungs for 4 seconds before starting the cycle over. And while it may seem repetitive or dull, this 4-4-4-4 rhythm is like a metronome for your heart, your brain waves, and your blood flow. And by repeating it for just 5 minutes in the morning, many seniors experience a dramatic drop in morning anxiety, less pressure in the chest or jaw, and more fluidity in the joints as circulation improves. And because it also gently expands your lung capacity, it's the perfect warm-up for any physical activity, whether you're going for a walk, attending a family gathering, or preparing for physical therapy or exercise. And what makes box breathing so ideal for the elderly is that it's entirely customizable. You can begin with shorter durations if 4 seconds feels too long. And as your comfort grows, you can increase to 5 or 6 seconds per side of the box, which essentially means your lungs become stronger, your diaphragm more elastic, and your ability to stay calm under pressure more reliable with each session. And even better, this practice also benefits cognitive clarity because every deep breath pumps fresh oxygen into the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for memory and learning, which is often the first region to suffer when breathing is shallow or oxygen levels are poor. So if you're someone who has ever walked into a room and forgotten why you're there, struggled to recall names, or felt mentally sluggish in the late afternoon, this one breathing pattern can help restore blood flow to those brain cells that are quietly starving for fuel. And once box breathing becomes a part of your daily life, you may begin to notice that your blood pressure readings improve, your ability to stand from a seated position strengthens, and even your digestion works more smoothly because the vagus nerve, your body's master regulator of rest, digestion, and inflammation, is directly stimulated by deep, rhythmic breathing patterns like this one, which is why many older people find that they experience less bloating, constipation, or gas simply from practicing this daily breath work. And what's even more empowering is that this technique can be done sitting in a chair, lying in bed, or even standing in the shower, meaning you never have to go anywhere special, wear special clothes, or have any equipment. Your lungs are the only tool you need, and they are available to you 24 hours a day. And once this technique feels comfortable, you can begin layering in the second breathing method, which is designed to energize the body more actively by introducing more carbon dioxide tolerance and better oxygen retention. And this second technique is known as pursed lip breathing. And while it's often taught to people with COPD or asthma, its real superpower lies in how it forces the lungs to slow the exhale and maintain airway pressure, which prevents air from becoming trapped in the lungs and allows for a more complete exchange of gases. And the science behind this is clear. When seniors breathe out too quickly or forcefully, especially during exertion, they create negative pressure in their chest and actually inhibit the lungs from offloading stale air, which leads to a sensation of breathlessness, dizziness, or tightness. And over time, this habit weakens the respiratory muscles and contributes to fatigue. But by breathing in through the nose slowly and then breathing out through pursed lips, as if gently blowing out a candle, you extend the exhalation and retrain the lungs to stay open longer, clearing out more carbon dioxide and making room for more fresh oxygen. And doing this 5 to 10 times during daily walks, after climbing stairs, or when transitioning from sitting to standing can result in dramatic improvements in energy, stability, and breath control. And what makes this especially beneficial for older adults is that it enhances oxygen efficiency without requiring physical effort. You're simply adjusting your breath. Yet the ripple effect improves how your muscles recover, how your heart pumps, and how your cells absorb nutrients. And many elderly individuals who begin doing pursed lip breathing during house chores or physical therapy sessions find that their stamina increases within days, their coughing fits lessen, and their voice becomes stronger because their vocal cords receive better airflow. And when paired with box breathing, this second method becomes a performance amplifier. You use box breathing to calm and center the body, and pursed lip breathing to power through moments of effort with more control and grace. And this is especially useful for those dealing with arthritis or mobility limitations, because reduced joint use often leads to shallow breathing patterns and low-grade systemic fatigue. But when you begin to actively control how you exhale, you signal your body to re-engage with movement, and that signal, over time, rewires your muscles and brain to trust motion again. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about these first two techniques is how they begin to restore a lost sense of independence. Because when you can walk across the room without gasping or lift something light without trembling, you begin to feel like yourself again. And that confidence alone creates a virtuous cycle of improved mood, sharper memory, and even better sleep, all without a single pill, shake, or machine. So in the next section, we'll introduce the third breathing technique, which is focused on increasing endurance, lowering pain perception, and tapping into a hidden internal rhythm that athletes call resonant frequency breathing. And it's the one method that elderly individuals report gives them a surprising return to that calm, powerful state they once felt in their youth when walking, dancing, or doing chores felt effortless and energizing rather than exhausting and slow. The third breathing technique is one that often surprises people because it taps into an innate rhythm that many have forgotten or never fully learned to use effectively. And it's called resonant frequency breathing, sometimes referred to as coherent breathing. And the essence of this technique is about slowing your breath to a precise pace, usually around 5 to 6 breaths per minute, which is significantly slower than the typical resting rate of 12 to 20 breaths per minute for most adults. And by breathing at this slower, consistent pace, you synchronize the cardiovascular, respiratory, and nervous systems in a way that boosts heart rate variability, improves baroreflex sensitivity, and essentially tunes your body like a finely crafted musical instrument, creating a state of balance and calm that profoundly benefits both mind and body. And for seniors, this means that resonant frequency breathing can be a game changer because it reduces stress hormones, lowers blood pressure, and enhances oxygen exchange efficiency. And many older adults who practice this regularly report feeling less anxiety, better mental clarity, and a surprising surge of physical energy that supports daily tasks, social activities, and even hobbies that once felt too exhausting. And here's how you do it. You start by sitting comfortably with good posture, shoulders relaxed. And then you breathe in gently through your nose for about 5 to 6 seconds, letting your abdomen expand as you fill your lungs fully but without strain. Then you exhale slowly and evenly for the same length of time through your nose or mouth, making sure your out-breath is smooth and controlled. And as you maintain this rhythm, you focus on the sensation of air moving in and out and the subtle rise and fall of your belly and chest, allowing your mind to settle naturally without forcing thoughts away. And the beauty of this technique is that it can be practiced anywhere, anytime, from a quiet morning, in bed, to sitting in a park, or even during breaks while watching television. And unlike some forms of meditation that require silence or complex mantras, resonant frequency breathing is accessible and practical for all levels. And many people over 60 find that just 10 minutes a day can bring transformative results, such as reduced insomnia, improved digestion, and a remarkable decrease in joint pain, often linked to systemic inflammation. Because when your nervous system shifts into this balance mode, it helps regulate the inflammatory response that contributes to arthritis and muscle stiffness. And this is why practitioners often report that after a few weeks of consistent practice, their movements become freer and less painful, enabling them to participate more fully in activities like gardening, dancing, or playing with grandchildren. And it's important to mention that this breathing pattern also supports the vagus nerve, which is crucial for parasympathetic nervous system activation, the part of your nervous system responsible for rest, digestion, and healing. And this enhanced vagal tone means that your body can recover faster from daily stresses, reduce feelings of overwhelm, and create a foundation for improved emotional resilience, all of which are vital for healthy aging. Because as we age, the ability to bounce back from stress diminishes, leading to chronic fatigue, mood swings, and even increased risk of cardiovascular events. So by retraining your breath to this resonant frequency, you are essentially giving your body a reset button, and the positive effects often extend beyond physical health to cognitive function as well, with many seniors noticing sharper focus, better decision-making, and a calmer mind during social interactions or tasks that require concentration. And this, in turn, can reduce feelings of loneliness and social isolation, which are common challenges in later life. And from a practical standpoint, resonant frequency. Breathing can be combined with gentle movement or stretching to further enhance benefits, such as practicing it before a morning walk or after yoga or Tai Chi sessions to deepen relaxation and restore energy. And because it is a natural rhythm, it doesn't demand any special equipment or extensive training. And its long-term effects include improved cardiovascular health markers like heart rate variability and blood pressure control, which are critical predictors of longevity and quality of life. So incorporating this breathing trick regularly can feel like a small investment of time with huge returns. And many who embrace it describe a renewed sense of vitality, a lighter mood, and even enhanced intimacy with loved ones as stress levels drop and energy rises. And as we near the final part, it's important to recognize that while breathing alone isn't a cure-all, it is a foundational tool that supports many other healthy habits by fueling your body and mind efficiently and calming your nervous system, which allows you to better engage with physical activity, nutrition, and social connection. And in the next section, we'll reveal the fourth and final breathing trick that focuses on boosting stamina instantly, especially for those who feel their energy dipping during daily routines or special moments. Because the last thing we want is for aging to rob you of your confidence or your joy in the simple pleasures of movement and connection. The fourth and final breathing trick we're going to explore today is what many seniors describe as a secret weapon for those moments when energy feels low, but there's still a need to perform. Whether that means finishing a walk, enjoying intimacy with a partner, or simply powering through daily tasks with confidence and clarity. And this technique is called stimulating breath, sometimes known as bellows breath in yoga traditions. And while it might sound intense, it's actually a gentle, controlled way to increase oxygen flow quickly, awaken the nervous system, and boost circulation, all within a minute or two, making it ideal for anyone over 60 who needs a fast performance boost without caffeine or medication. And here's how it works. You begin by sitting or standing comfortably with a straight spine and relaxed shoulders. Then you take quick, short inhales and exhales through the nose. Imagine the breath moving like a bellows or a pump, without forcing it, but maintaining an even rhythm, usually at a pace of about 2 to 3 breaths per second, continuing for anywhere between 15 to 30 seconds, depending on your comfort level. And then you return to normal breathing and notice how your body responds. And the beauty of this technique lies in its ability to rapidly stimulate the sympathetic nervous system in a balanced way that doesn't cause anxiety or panic, but rather increases alertness, mental focus, and physical readiness. And what's fascinating is that many elderly practitioners report feeling an immediate rush of warmth in their chest and extremities, an improved ability to catch their breath during exertion, and a surge of motivation to move or engage socially, which is incredibly valuable when fatigue or low energy threaten to shut down activity or interaction. And unlike other breathing methods that aim to calm, this one energizes while still encouraging full oxygen exchange, which means it can be strategically used before or during moments that require peak performance, like preparing for a walk outside, getting ready for a date night, or even prior to physical therapy exercises. And when combined with the other 3 techniques, box breathing, pursed lip breathing, and resonant frequency breathing, This creates a comprehensive breathwork toolkit that supports both the calming and energizing needs of the aging body, giving seniors a unique edge in reclaiming their vitality and confidence and beyond physical performance. Stimulating breath also plays a role in mental clarity and mood regulation, because the rapid movement of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the lungs helps balance neurotransmitters associated with happiness and alertness, which is why many older adults feel less depressed, more hopeful, and mentally sharper after incorporating this into their daily routine. And it's important to practice this technique carefully and gradually to avoid dizziness or overexertion. But with proper pacing, it becomes an empowering ritual that can be done anywhere, anytime, no equipment needed, just your breath and a few focused moments. And what's truly exciting is how these 4 breathing tricks together address the full spectrum of challenges that come with aging: shallow breathing, stress-induced fatigue, reduced oxygen capacity, and low energy, transforming them from barriers and opportunities for renewed strength, sharper mind, and better emotional balance. And as more seniors discover the power of mindful breathing, they report feeling younger, more vibrant, and more capable, not just physically, but socially and emotionally as well, because when you breathe well, you don't just live longer, you live better with more joy, connection, and freedom to do what you love without the constant drag of fatigue or brain fog. And if you're feeling inspired to try these techniques, start slow, listen to your body. And remember that breath is a lifelong companion that can always be retrained and optimized, no matter your age or physical condition. And as you incorporate these simple practices into your daily life, you may find yourself rediscovering energy you thought was lost, reclaiming your confidence and movement, and feeling more engaged with the world around you than you have in years. And that's truly the heart of this advice, to empower you with tools that fit seamlessly into your routine, that respect your body's pace, and that unlock the natural power lying within your own breath. Because no matter how old we are, the breath remains one of the most accessible and transformative gifts we have. And with these 4 breathing tricks in your toolbox, you hold the key to boosting your performance instantly, every day, with nothing but your breath, your presence, and your willingness to reconnect with yourself. And that's a gift that no pill, potion, or device can match. So breathe deeply, breathe fully, and step into your fullest life yet, because your best moments are still ahead of you. And you deserve to meet them with strength, vitality, and joy.